Oh, hello. I'm Rituja, and welcome to the next episode. And not just the next episode, actually. Welcome to the next season, that is the season 2 of Talkative Pod. I'm Rituja, and unlike the first season where we talked about things which are intriguing, inspiring, I realized that not a lot of topics which might be interesting or intriguing to me would be to you. So, I'm going to talk about things which I can talk about and I enjoy talking about and I like to, basically overthink about them. So the bottom line is that since I do not have a conversational podcast, maybe we'll have it in the future where I am inviting guests and my guests would be my friends or maybe someone like remotely unpopular, because I think the unpopular people are the ones who have the most interesting insights, and if I get a little bit more popular, definitely I'll call more interesting people who are interesting to the masses. But for now, since it's a solo podcast, I don't know what has happened to my accent. Solo podcast. Since it is a solo podcast, I since it's a solo podcast and only I'll be talking, I'll be taking some topics which you suggest on the Instagram or which come into my mind while I'm scrolling through reels, working, or just going on with my life, probably. In today's episode, to be very specific, we'll definitely have a catch up because it has been more than a year. Because last time my episode, which was on, was in September 21, and currently it's November 22. So it has been more than a year, and a lot of things have happened in middle, lots of ups and lots of downs. Next, we'll look at a very interesting idea, which is called the analysis paralysis, which has been going around for a while now. We'll come on to that, but that will be the basic agenda for today's episode. So I've been working a lot, and I think that's the major chunk of my time which goes on. So I have this meeting slang where I'll say agenda and words like, or I'll set up a meeting, I'll set up a time, I'll book a time. So all of these things have been happening with my virtual work from home lifestyle. Obviously, like even the podcast is so much similar like a meeting where you are basically talking to yourself even at work. I mean, I think even if like there are 4 to 5 people, no one is actually listening. And most of the times when there are trainings at work, basically the trainer who is talking, they're talking to themselves only. Like whenever the trainer asks question, people have the audacity to not even reply or respond. Like sometimes I feel bad and I say, yeah, that's right. And sometimes it's so painful to be in meetings like this where the poor trainer is asking some questions and no one wants to reply or say anything. I just get secondhand embarrassed. Okay, I forgot to have a little bit catch up with you guys, right? So I'm not sure if you can notice or not, but my voice is a little bit different because I think I'm going to get sick. It is getting a little bit colder where I live, and I think I'm going to get sick and I have cold. But I'm deciding to record this podcast because I think that's the best thing to do right now. So that's one thing, and that's where we talk about analysis paralysis. Last 1 year has been really interesting for me. There's not been one single change. There's not been like one big major change, but definitely there have been small incidents and small significant changes which have happened. And while all of this was going on, I had been thinking about a podcast and whether I should continue doing the podcast, whether this is just a break, or whether I really like to do a podcast. What am I doing the podcast for? Is it something like fame? Is it something I'm doing to become popular? Or is it something that I want to generate revenue from? Or is it something that I'm just doing for the fun of it? And if that's the case, then I could just call one of my friends and talk about different topics every day or whenever I want to. So there have been a lot of back and forth on the questions, and I do not have answer for all of them, but I think I could reach one point that gaining popularity or fame or revenue, I think all of these things could be there, but I think it would only happen 10 years from now. So that is not something that I've been thinking about. um, Creating content or having a vent out session or a rant session, um, It's also not something that I'm looking forward to, because if I want to vent and rant, I can call my friends and do that. Then what's remaining then? I want to create things. I'm doing this for myself. Not exactly for myself, actually. I don't know if you can be in the same boat as I am, but I think that, like, whenever you're putting your thoughts out on the internet like that, people will have some opinions, and there would be some people who would like your content. So when the thoughts are out on the internet where people can listen and have a judgment for you, I think that's the interesting part. It creates a environment where it is open for people to where it's open for people to think, ideate, or have conflicting thoughts as well. So then finally, what's the point of this podcast? I think it's only about the reactions. I want to know if there's a thought out there. What are people thinking about it? It's like if I'm thinking something like if Ross and Rachel really were on a break or not, and I have some thoughts. I want to know what are your thoughts also on that. I think that's right. That's the whole point. That's right, and it makes sense. And that is something which is why I would like to have a podcast. And in future, probably I'll have more people where I'll make my friends as my guests and ask them questions which I cannot actually ask them right now, because I want to put people on the spot and ask them questions so they get really uncomfortable and answer those questions. That's the plan. That's the final plan. I hope no one from my office is listening to this, because it's very embarrassing, first of all. And if you're listening, please don't reach out to me telling me that you have heard my podcast, because it's going to make me really, 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 really embarrassed. I'll not run away from the embarrassing feeling and go to the next topic. I'm just saying move on, and we'll go to our main topic, which is analysis paralysis. Now, so I'm definitely sure that you might have heard about this phrase around if you're on social media or Twitter or something like that. First of all, it's so catchy, like analysis paralysis. It's like a rhyming word. It's like you're rapping. It's like you're singing a song. It's like a shayari. I first the phrase whoever has created. I think we need to know who has created this phrase. Me search for this person. So basically, this person, H. Iger Ansoff, wrote a book where he used this phrase, which was originally paralysis by analysis. He used this phrase in reference to those who used the approach of business policy for growth and expansion to its excess. And this guy was a Russian American applied mathematician and a business manager, and is also known as the fathers of strategic management. Big guy. What we want to do here now is what is analysis paralysis, and by the name itself you can see that a lot of analysis going on. That's why you cannot reach to the conclusion, and that's why the decisions are paralyzed, that's why the execution is paralyzed, everything is stopped and nothing happens. Here it's written that an individual or a group can be affected, and it is so true. Like when I am working, and if there is one particular topic which no one wants to address, they just keep on having meetings. Let's take an example. Today is Monday, they'll schedule a meeting for Wednesday. They'll go on to that meeting and decide, okay, what do we want to do about this particular issue. And it is just what and how and all of this, but there's no execution step that happens. And then, so to discuss the plan again, they'll keep another meeting, and basically you'll reach nowhere. It's like so much data you have and you cannot execute it. And I believe if it is happening to me over probably very little things, it might be happening to you as well. There's one thing I can vouch for, that when you were in school and you wanted to answer a question, you analyze the answer so much, and in that analysis you miss the timing, and you do not raise your hand, and you do not get stuck. You get cold feet, which acts as a barrier to what you really want to do. Moments like these are really weak, and I think they make us feel really, really weak about ourselves. Just there's so much of sadness in my voice for some reason. But this is not going to be a sad episode. This is not going to be a pitiful sad episode. We are going to talk on what basically happens, so that we can learn from it and not get paralyzed by our own thoughts. So let us first understand what is this. I might be reading a couple of sentences, so it might not totally be my own thoughts, because obviously I don't know how it is working in my brain. I just know that what it is. So analysis paralysis is basically inability to make a decision due to overthinking a problem. And one thing is for sure, that this particular phenomenon of not being able to make a decision and just going left and right over different options and variables and opinions and thoughts and everything, this not just only applies to life changing decisions, but it also applies to trivial matters. So life changing decisions like relocating from one place to another, changing jobs, getting married, etc. Obviously in these type of decisions you might get little cold feet and probably take a more time to make a decision. And I think that is pretty much understood, because it, while making trivial decisions like whether I want to eat breakfast today or not, or whether I should make a sandwich today or not, or whether I should make something Indian. I think a very frequent example which I can think of, which is very trivial, but ordering something makes me freeze. I do not want to order anything other than the things that I know. I do not want to go to new places other than the places that I already know, because it basically is the anxiety of choosing the wrong things. It's basically that fear of choosing or ordering the wrong thing. So, for example, I'm going to a cafe and my classic order will be two things, like probably a cappuccino and a sandwich. And I don't want to order anything else. I'm very scared. I cannot order anything else going to a cafe and there are 50 different things, and if you're only ordering one thing you would never be able to. I think that is something that people do, that they'll order their normal regular thing and then they'll let their friends who are there with them order something really out of the box, and they'll just try one bite to see if it's okay or not. Probably that is also one way to live the life, but it's way too safe. I'm still learning because I have my regular order, and that's what I order from the same cafe, from the same restaurant over and over again. But having to take that call of trying something new and being able to be brave enough to face that fear of choosing the wrong option is something that we all need to learn. And it starts small only. So, that is one thing for which I could try to tone down my analysis so much and overthinking about the wrong decisions so much. Also, because if you're going to a cafe which is not so expensive and you can spend 200, 300, or whatever the amount is, you can take that small chance and see what happens. It would either be good, either be bad, but that's just something that we need to have the courage to do. I do not have it right now, but probably in the next second, third episode, I'll share with you something. I'm probably going for a shopping thing tomorrow. Let's see, let me order something totally out of the box, which I would never generally order. So, my general drink order is classic frappe or classic cold coffee. You might call it as dessert, and that's totally fine. But I like my coffee medium sweet and with a lot of milk. I don't like that watery taste that iced coffee has. I tried iced coffee, but does not work for me. So dessert, if you want to call coffee flavored dessert, do not try to kid me here, where the espresso people are like, oh my god, espresso is the real coffee. Whatever you are drinking with the sugar and all is all dessert. Okay, fine. I'll try to order or try something really out of my way. We'll see. Um, so moving ahead with the analysis paralysis, I have a task for myself which I've given to myself, and I'm not going to remove this from the podcast, because let's see, if we are not making any changes in our life, what's the point? What's the point really? So what's on the stake? On the stake is a missed opportunity, and I don't want to miss that opportunity. I think we all need to try in that direction. So the bottom line is, a person over analyzes something so much that they just find comfort in not selecting any option of that, which is so sad because the opportunity is also missed and you don't even get the experience. And Jeff Boswell, writing for Forbes, he has said that it doesn't matter in which direction you choose to move when under a mortar attack, just as long as you move. So, this is written from the blog that many decisions require a bit more analysis. However, overanalyzing a decision can be at least as damaging as making a decision at random. If you find yourself plagued by analysis paralysis, first define your goals and then narrow your options to include only those few that best match it. Compare their disadvantages and advantages, then pick one. I definitely do not think that this is very helpful, but I'm just reading it out loud. I think I wouldn't be the one who is sitting down and writing the advantages, disadvantages. I would just go and pick one randomly and just see what will happen. Because if we are playing chances, then that's how it goes. If it, I mean, we also have to look at what is at stake, right? If you are putting some money in some stocks, etc., you have to analyze a lot. Probably you can get into analysis paralysis. That is something that I would allow, but not for something trivial like ordering food. Bottom line is that we should stop analyzing and start doing. So I believe we need to structure the day and always put efforts in deciding things which actually matter. We have to be self accountable. If you need to decide for something which wouldn't matter your life so much, you should just give it a shot and choose something random. I'll say, I would not say to go sit down as the blog is telling me to do, go sit down, make a list of advantages and disadvantages, because that again goes to somewhere like overthinking. So for smaller decision, go with a random choice, and for the bigger ones, yeah, please have a yellow notepad like Ted had in How I Met Your Mother and make the disadvantages advantages list and move on and go on with the overthinking and over analyzing. And if you do not still find answers, go to Reddit and see what other people are doing. And with that thought, I think I can end today's episode. It has been a great episode. I believe I've not recorded since a very, very long time. I might have a couple of recordings here and there from the past year, but I think it's about that I do not want to upload anything which is stale. And today I believe is a very happy day. Everything's going good. I'm going to have Subway tomorrow and I'll probably try some toppings which I've never ever tried. And I'll choose something which is out of my way. And we'll see in the next episode how it goes. Until then, bye. And let me know your thoughts on Instagram. I am also on Instagram and on Twitter. You can reach out to me on Talkative Pod. So bye and have a good day or a good night or a good midday or a good week, whatever you're doing. Have the most of it.